My in-laws' family dumped my sister-in-law, who's now mute and bedridden, on me and went on a vacation to Hawaii. Right before they left, my husband, Jack, said, "Taking care of her is your job. Don't slack off." The moment Jack and his family left the house, my sister-in-law sat up and said, "Okay, let's get going too." I'm Lisa, 29 years old. As a teenager, I dreamed of becoming a pop star, but eventually realized it was a fleeting dream, and before I knew it, I was in my late 20s. I started dating Jack, whom I had met through a friend, because my mother, with whom I live, kept asking when she was going to see her grandchild. Talking to Jack, I found out that he too had once dreamed of entering the entertainment industry when he was young. Despite our past aspirations, Jack now works at a prestigious trading company with its headquarters in downtown Manhattan. After graduating from college, I worked at a bank until I got married and quit. One day, Jack and I went to his parents' house. Jack has a younger sister named Lucy, who caught a fever when she was a child. Her mother thought it was just a common cold, but when the fever didn't subside, they took her to a doctor and found out it was encephalitis, caused by an influenza. It was already too late, and due to the prolonged high fever, Lucy was left with brain damage and turned bedridden. Furthermore, the high fever left lingering effects on the part of her brain that controls speech, leaving her unable to speak. My mother-in-law was the one who took care of Lucy for the most part. For some reason, Lucy and I got along well, and I always looked forward to visiting Jack's family. Lucy couldn't converse verbally, so she used sign language. After becoming close with Lucy, I naturally picked up sign language as well. One day, I signed to Lucy, "We're like best friends who've known each other forever, aren't we?" To which she replied, "Yes, we are. Let's stay close friends forever." I responded, "Of course we will." However, my mother-in-law, who is the complete opposite of Lucy, was always sarcastic towards me. Jack and I live in a condo about a 30-minute drive from his parents' house, but occasionally my mother-in-law would drive over unannounced and start nitpicking on me. "Jackie's shoes are filthy. If a man's shoes are dirty, it reflects poorly on his work. It's your responsibility to keep them clean." My mother-in-law always referred to Jack as Jackie. "Make sure you always fold the laundry neatly. If you don't, Jackie will be in a bad mood." The one who raised Jack this way was none other than her. "No matter how late Jackie gets home, you must never go to bed before him, even if Jackie says it's okay for you to go to bed first." My mother-in-law would say such old-fashioned things. Jack, while we were dating and initially after we got married, was very kind and never disagreed with me. For example, if I said I wasn't feeling well and asked him to have dinner outside, he would readily agree. If I saw a designer bag I liked, he would buy it for me the following month. However, about a year after we got married, Jack started to change. Or perhaps he returned to his original self. He started coming home late from work, always reeking of alcohol. Jack's been increasingly busy on Saturdays and Sundays, always claiming that work kept him away from home. When he would occasionally visit his parents' home, he would decline my requests to join him, which was kind of odd. One day, I decided to confront him about it. "Jack, you've become so distant lately. It feels like you're a completely different person," I said. Jack glared at me for a moment, then replied, "That's not true. You're overthinking things." "I don't think I am," I retorted. "You barely talk to me anymore." "I told you, you're overthinking it. Stop bringing this up." With that, he walked away to take a shower, ending the conversation. One day, Jack surprised me by saying, "This Sunday, I'm going home. What are you going to do?" I was taken aback, as Jack had previously always refused my company on such visits. "Wait, I can come with you this time?" I asked, to which he replied, "That's why I'm asking." "Well, of course, I'll come then. I'd like to see Lucy too," I added. Jack frowned a bit and said, "You and Lucy seem to get along really well, huh?" "Yes, we do. It feels like we've been best friends forever," I responded, noticing Jack's slight grimace at my words. On Sunday, I drove us to Jack's family home in Nebraska. We stopped at a bakery along the way to buy some pastries as a gift. Jack's mother always has a frown when she sees me, but she would light up upon receiving the pastries. When we arrived, his mother came to greet us. As usual, she frowned at my sight, almost as if she was not happy to see me. "Mother-in-law, please have some of these," I said, handing her the pastries. She snatched them from me and peered inside before replying, "Is it these pastries again? They're getting boring. But since you insist, I'll have them." Her face lit up like a child receiving a toy. "Is father around today?" he asked. Jack's father was elderly, but still worked actively. "He's out at a meeting. Why, did you need something?" she asked. "No, not really. I just had something I wanted to talk about with him," he replied. I hadn't heard anything about this from Jack. "What's going on? Did you have something to tell your father?" I asked Jack. "It's none of your business," he responded. "What do you mean? We're a married couple, aren't we? Can you just stop nagging?" Jack retorted, to which his mother added, "Exactly. If Jack doesn't want to tell you something, you shouldn't be prying." I decided not to respond, knowing that arguing with her would be fruitless. Just then, Jack's sister appeared. "Oh, Jack, you're here," she said. "Sis, perfect timing. I have something to discuss." Jack started. "What is it?" she asked. "I can take a long vacation next month. I was thinking about a family trip to Hawaii. How about you, sis?" Jack proposed. "I'll pass. I don't have a passport," she replied. I was taken aback. Jack, who was always busy with work and rarely took time off, was suggesting a trip to Hawaii. "Jack, is everything all right with your job?" "I'm only suggesting this trip because my work's going fine." My mother-in-law seemed displeased with my interference in Jack's business. Frowning deeply, she said to me, "You shouldn't meddle with decisions Jack has made. You're really nosy, aren't you?" "That's right. And Lisa, the reason I asked you here today is because I want you to take care of Lucy during the time we're on vacation." I was momentarily taken aback. But then I realized that staying here with Lucy would be much more enjoyable than going on a trip to Hawaii with my mother-in-law. "Okay, I will take care of Lucy. But if that was the case, you didn't need to bring me all the way here to tell me that, did you?" "I figured if I told you in front of my mother, you'd understand quicker," Jack replied. He must have assumed I'd resist when I found out I couldn't go to Hawaii. And if I did, he wanted my mother-in-law to forcefully convince me. It was clear to me that this was his intent. I was left feeling dumbfounded and left the room to head to Lucy's room. Lucy looked delighted to see me. "It's been a while. How have you been?" "I'm good. What brings you here today?" Jack asked me to come with him to our parents' house, so I did. But it's strange. Before, whenever Jack came here, he used to tell me I couldn't come along. My brother is definitely hiding something. He's always been secretive. So, apparently, he's going to Hawaii next month. But I'll be staying back. I think that's better, though. As I said this with a smile, Lucy also replied with a grin. "In that case, you should come over and stay here." "Sure, I'll do that." After that, Lucy and I had a great time chatting. I always wondered why Lucy and my mother-in-law were so different. About an hour later, Jack came to get me, and we headed home. At that time, Lucy gave me a slight wink. She revealed a shocking truth and an even more shocking plan to me. A month later, on the day of the Hawaii trip, Jack and I went to his parents' house. Although I wasn't going to Hawaii, I brought my luggage to stay at my in-laws for a week with Lucy. I took the luggage to Lucy's room. "It's finally happening," Lucy said, flashing a playful grin. When I returned to the living room, everyone going to Hawaii was already there. It seemed that Jack's father wasn't going, as he wasn't present. As the departure time neared, the entire family, with Jack's voice rising above the rest, chimed in. "Taking care of Lucy is your job. Don't slack off." And even my mother-in-law added, "Please get along well with Lucy. It's better for you to stay here, isn't it? If anything happens to Lucy, it's all your fault. We'll hold you responsible." It was absurd for someone who was about to abandon their immobile sister for a vacation in Hawaii to say these words. But I did not react at all. It didn't matter what Jack said. I wasn't in the mood to see them off, so I returned to Lucy's room. It was at that very moment. Lucy sprang up energetically from her bed and called out to me. "Come on, let's get going." This echoed a conversation we'd had just the other day when Lucy confessed, "You know, I can actually walk." And with walking came the ability to converse. "Since when?" I asked. "Since last year, I suppose." "Why have you been hiding this from the rest of the family?" With that, Lucy began sharing an unexpected tale. "Actually, my father and mother are both remarried. I'm my dad's child from his previous marriage, and my sister and brother are from my mom's side." I was surprised, but considering how distant and cold my mother-in-law usually was towards Lucy, I couldn't help but think, I thought so. "Is that so?" "Yeah, my mom despises me. And I didn't want to talk to her, so I pretended that I couldn't." "And your father?" "Dad knows everything. He's always on my side." "I see. That's why, regarding this trip to Hawaii, I'm thinking we should go too." "Huh? What do you mean?" "I mean, I'm planning to go to Hawaii on the same day with you. We'll even stay at the same resort," Lucy said, with a sparkle in her eye, which caught me completely off guard. "What? I'd be thrilled to go to Hawaii with you, Lucy, but do you even have a passport?" "Of course. I secretly got my passport last month. And don't worry about the expenses. My dad is covering our plane tickets and the resort, including yours." "I see. I'm really looking forward to this." And that's how we ended up here today. When Lucy and I arrived at the airport via taxi, my father-in-law was there, waiting to see us off. "Lisa, it's been a while. I know it must be surprising, but I hope you enjoy the trip to Hawaii." "Thank you, father-in-law. I feel guilty for all the plane tickets and resort fees you've covered." "Ha, don't worry about it. As long as you two have fun, I'm happy." "Thank you for your kindness." After that, we boarded a plane from a different airline than my husband's family. We landed in Hawaii early in the morning. We took a taxi from the airport and checked into the resort hotel. Lucy and I were sharing a room. I mentioned to Lucy, "Your father seems pretty well traveled." "Yeah, he's been on several international business trips. He's even been to Hawaii a few times." "So, what's the plan?" "I'm guessing my mom and everyone will dine at the restaurant here tonight. I'm thinking of surprising them." "That sounds like fun. I'm excited. Should we get some rest to recover from getting jet-lagged? That sounds like a good idea. I couldn't sleep at all on the plane. After taking a shower, we climbed into bed and quickly fell asleep. We woke up around late afternoon, close to 4 o'clock. Lucy was already awake, starting to wear makeup. I'm sorry, I slept too much. No, don't worry about it. I just woke up too. We really had a good sleep, didn't we? Fully recharged and ready for our battle. Around 7 o'clock, I said to Lucy, I'll go and see and check the restaurant. As I was looking for Jack and his party from the shadows near the entrance of the restaurant, I found them, dining joyfully in a far-off spot. I was too far away from them, so I decided to venture deeper into the restaurant. From my position, all I could see was their backs, and it was hard to identify anyone. But I spotted the back of a young woman that I didn't recognize. There wasn't any such woman when they had left Jack's parents' house. Upon seeing this, I was taken aback, nearly letting out a loud gasp, but I managed to suppress it. When I strained my ears, I could intermittently hear Jack and my mother-in-law's voices. I'm glad it's not that woman today. Yeah, I really drew the short straw. She's tainted my family record. If only we had an elegant daughter like her from the start. I want to divorce her and start fresh soon. Try to find a reason for the divorce and extract a hefty alimony from that woman. Even without a cause for the divorce, it's fine. I can fabricate as many as I want. She's so bad that I want to throw her in the trash. I want to see my grandchild from you and her soon. My mother-in-law was giving the woman a smile that she had never shown me before. I was driven by the urge to step forward and see the woman's face, but I held it in, returned to my room, and told Lucy. That took a while. I'm sorry, I saw something shocking. Jack brought a woman that I've never seen before. What? I was about to scream. Jack and my mother-in-law were continuously bad-mouthing me, and Jack even said he would find a reason for divorce. That's terrible. Jack called me a bad catch, but seeing him with another woman, I felt relieved. Now I can divorce him outright. That's a good thing. Shall we make our entrance then? Lucy and I headed towards the restaurant hall. When we entered to the restaurant, we requested to sit near Jack's table and were able to get a seat quite close to them. They didn't notice our arrival. As we were sitting quite close, we could hear their conversation well, which was still filled with derogatory comments about me. I was amazed and ended up giving a bitter smile at how they could badmouth me indefinitely. Seeing my face, Lucy gave a nod with a smile. That was a cue for us to begin our counterattack. I stood up from my seat, stepped forward towards Jack, and shouted, "Are you all having a good time?" I'll never forget the look on Jack and my mother-in-law's faces at that moment. Their mouths agape and eyes wide open. They froze for a few seconds. After a few seconds, my mother-in-law finally spoke. "Why are you here? And how did Lucy get here without a wheelchair?" At her words, Lucy stood up, gave mother-in-law a smile, and said, "I don't need a wheelchair." Once again, they were stunned. Thanks to you, my body and speech have returned to normal. I must have caused you quite a bit of trouble for a long time. Lucy, when did you regain your ability to speak? I wonder when that was. Maybe last year? Then why did you hide it until now? Because it was better if you guys continued to believe that I couldn't speak. You and Jack were speaking ill of me earlier, weren't you? My mother-in-law's face turned pale in an instant. What do you mean? She asked. Yeah, we weren't saying anything bad about you, Lisa, Jack retorted. That won't work. I recorded everything on my phone. Do you want me to play it back right now? I countered. My mother-in-law fell silent, but Jack stood up. Lisa, you've been causing me trouble all this time, and now you're making these outrageous claims? He barked. Jack was the one making absurd claims, so I retaliated. Once I returned back home, I'll immediately contact my lawyer to initiate our divorce procedure. You can't deny the fact that you're on a vacation abroad with another woman. Plus, you described getting with me as drawing a blank lottery ticket, so I expect you to demonstrate sincerity by paying a hefty compensation for that comment, I declared. At my words, my mother-in-law seemed to acknowledge her defeat, and her attitude abruptly changed. Lisa, dear, I really like you. Please, try to get along with Jack. This woman is not involved with Jack, she pleaded. I'm sorry, but I can't do that. Since I am a blank lottery ticket, I cannot live with Jack. Please, enjoy your time with this woman. Oh, and I might also seek compensation from her. Isn't that exciting? I smirked. The woman in question turned pale and began to tremble upon hearing my words. Unfazed by the public gaze, Jack fell to his knees and pleaded. Lisa, I beg you, don't make this a big deal. My company has strict rules about this, he implored. What's that? You don't sound sorry at all, I replied. Jack appeared taken aback, then tried again. Lisa, I beg you, forgive me. If my company finds out, I'll lose my job, he confessed. Though your plea sounds better now, I will never forgive you. You are married, and yet here you are on an overseas trip with another woman, I said firmly. Upon hearing my words, my mother-in-law also fell to her knees next to Jack, pleading. Please, forgive my son, she implored, tears streaming down her face. By this time, all the other customers were watching us, and the restaurant manager started walking towards our table. Seeing this, I got up and said, Well, Lucy and I will head back to our room. You all enjoy your Hawaiian vacation. I guess things will get a bit difficult when you get back home. Hearing this, Jack, crying, shouted at the top of his lungs. Please forgive me! I can't afford to pay any compensation! At his loud outburst, the restaurant manager frowned, instructed something to a nearby staff member, and then briskly told Jack something. It was a polite way of telling him that he was disturbing the other guests and needed to leave. However, Jack was taken aback, not understanding the manager's words. Soon, 2 buffed-up security guards arrived and hauled Jack away. Jack was sobbing and struggling, but he was no match for the 2 bulky men. My mother-in-law and the woman were dumbfounded, unable to utter a word. While Lucy and I were also surprised by the turn of events, I thought Jack got what he deserved. A week later, Lucy and I returned home. Jack was quickly released and seemed to have returned to his room. However, I later heard that he had been in a state of shock since returning to his room and had kept to himself until the end of the trip. The day after I returned home, I went to the law firm where my old college friend worked to request for a divorce proceeding. Unfortunately, my friend was not present, but a female lawyer was assigned to me, who was very easy to talk to, and I was able to explain everything that had happened. After listening to my story, she assured me that a divorce was possible, that I could claim alimony, and that she would investigate the woman who was with Jack in Hawaii before determining whether I could claim alimony from her as well. A month later, the female lawyer contacted me and informed me that it had been proved that Jack had been dating the other woman for about 6 months. Hence, She said it was possible for me to demand alimony from this woman too. I requested the female lawyer, please squeeze as much alimony as you can from Jack and his woman. She smiled and nodded. 2 months later, I was officially divorced, and into my bank account was deposited the alimony from the two. I mumbled as I saw the amount. And that's karma for calling me a blank lottery ticket. 3 months later, Jack and my mother-in-law suddenly visited my place. Despite it being only 3 months, they had lost a lot of weight and looked completely haggard. I asked them, "What do you want? I don't want to see your faces." Jack replied in a thin voice, "I'm sorry. Could you lend me some money? I've lost my job and the woman ran away. I don't even have money for food." My mother-in-law also spoke in a whisper. "I've divorced my husband too. I don't have money. Please, I beg you." My mother-in-law was in tears. I responded, "Too bad. I have absolutely no obligation to help you, and even if I did, I would never help you guys out. Now, please leave." After they left, I sprinkled a large amount of salt at my entrance to get rid of bad energy from my house.
"Can I hold the baby too?" Tears streaming down my face. I said this upon seeing the newborn baby. Then Eva and Johnny looked at each other and started to laugh. "What are you saying something so funny for?" "You don't have to ask to give a hug." I thought they would say something like that and approach the baby, but then, "Hey, don't come any closer." Eva said, laughing. I thought I misheard, but I hadn't. "After all, why should I let a stranger like you touch my child?" "Stranger?" Johnny also looked at me and laughed. "We don't need you anymore." He threw the words at me as if spitting them out. Seeing me frozen and unable to speak, they both laughed. Were all those days a lie? Was I the only one enjoying our time together? It felt like the world was going dark. "No, it was fun. You made a lot of money for us. Fed us, right?" "Yeah, right. We could live luxuriously, and you did everything we said." There was no love or gratitude for me there. I had been deceived for over 20 years. I couldn't help but burst into laughter at my own stupidity. Shaking with laughter, I laughed. "Have you finally gone mad?" Johnny looked at me with a contemptuous face, wondering what was happening to me. Why did I ever love such a man? That's disgusting. I thought it might be something like that. Johnny and Eva looked confused. I headed towards the door behind me. When I opened the door, the two of them froze. I am Ashley, 53 years old, living with my husband and daughter. At first glance, ours might seem like any normal family, but our case is a bit different. The daughter is not my biological child, but my husband's stepchild. I was married to another man before I met my husband, but we divorced due to infertility. It was a mutual, amicable divorce. Knowing I couldn't have children, I threw myself into my work like never before. Work was the only purpose I had in life. Before I knew it, I became one of the top performers in the company, and that's when I met Johnny, who would become my husband. Johnny worked at a client's company and was a kind young man of the same age. The first time we met was when my heel broke during a visit to Johnny's company, and he helped me. That was the start of everything. Every time we saw each other, we greeted and gradually started to talk more. Before long, I found myself looking forward to meeting Johnny. One day, when I went to Johnny's company, there was a little girl, about 3 years old, in the office. Curious, I asked the receptionist, who told me that the girl's name was Eva and that she was Johnny's daughter. Eva's mother had passed away shortly after she was born. Since then, Johnny had been raising her alone, working while taking care of her. Sometimes when Eva couldn't go to the childcare center because of a fever, she would wait in the office like this. There was a cooling gel patch on Eva's forehead. Just then, Johnny returned to the office. "Oh, Ashley, here for another meeting today?" He greeted me with a smile. Yes, that's right." I imagined the unseen struggles Johnny must be facing. I heard about Eva." Johnny was surprised, but quickly smiled again. She sometimes comes here. The childcare center won't take her, even with a slight fever." "I see. I'm sorry. Don't mind me, and please go home early to rest." For someone without children, I couldn't imagine how hard it must be. "Yes, I will. See you then." With that, Johnny picked up Eva and left the company. Even during the meeting, I couldn't stop thinking about Johnny and Eva. There are many people raising children alone. Surely each family has its own set of struggles. Even families with both parents present have their hardships. As someone who can't have children, I might end my life without knowing any of that struggle. Suddenly, dedicating everything to work seemed lonely. I wondered if there was something I could do to lessen Johnny's burden. Without realizing it, my heart had been stolen by him. Since then, I sought out more opportunities to talk to Johnny. We exchanged contact information, and it didn't take long before Eva was included in our meals out together. Eva grew fond of me, and the three of us started spending more time together. When Eva turned 4, "I want to eat Ashley's cooking every day." Casual remark pushed my feelings forward. Johnny, a bit embarrassed, "Hey, Eva, Ashley is busy. Don't make unreasonable requests," chided Eva, but I wondered what he really felt. A few days later, when the three of us went to the park, I asked Johnny. The other day, what Eva said made me really happy. Johnny looked as if he didn't know what I was talking about. "If it's okay with you, shall I cook every day?" Johnny's expression changed, as if he just realized. Was that unclear? I mean, you and..." Before I could finish, Johnny interrupted me. "Please, wait." My heart raced. Johnny looked at Eva playing on the playground equipment, then sighed. Maybe I was overstepping. I was filled with anxiety. "I can't put any more burden on you, Ashley." Johnny muttered. Was it a mistake? "Meals. No, let's share the household chores." I couldn't believe my ears. No, I mean, you're busy with work, so I'll take on some of the household chores as well." Does that mean, could I be misunderstanding? Are you asking me to marry you? Oh, yes, sorry, that's right. No, I mean, Johnny was flustered, but then he straightened up and faced me directly. "Sorry for being unclear. I'm not much, but please marry me." "Yes," I answered with a beaming smile. In the distance, Eva called out to Johnny. Yet we held hands and looked into each other's eyes. 20 years have passed since then. Since that day, we became a family and have spent our time together. Eva, who was 4 then, is now 24. I've continued working as always, though I had an inheritance left by my late parents. Above all, I wanted to do something for Eva, who cherishes me as her real mother. Even when I was busy with work, Johnny and Eva never complained and helped with the chores. But just as Eva said that day, wanting to eat my cooking every day, I made sure to cook at least 1 meal a day. From graduating childcare center to finishing university, I've tried to fulfill Eva's wishes as much as possible. School events, hobbies, cram school, I let her do everything she wanted, just like other kids. Eva grew up honest and energetic, graduated from university 2 years ago, and now works for a local company. All that's left is for her to find someone good and get married. Lately, I've started to think that way, becoming a full-fledged mother. Contrary to my feelings, I started feeling Eva's attitude towards me was cold after she started working. The first sign something was off was when she stopped eating my meals. Once or twice might have been okay, but she started eating out whenever I cooked. Puzzled, I consulted Johnny.
Eva is working now, a member of society. It's not something to worry about so much.
But he brushed it off. Indeed, that's true. She's an adult, and I shouldn't interfere too much. Though I thought so at the time, Eva eventually stopped eating my meals altogether. Eva's cold attitude wasn't limited to meals. It's been a while since we had a conversation. Both of us working and returning home at different times played a part. But even in the brief moments we saw each other in the morning, she acted as if I wasn't there. She wouldn't respond even when I spoke to her. One night, as I was eating dinner late, Eva came home. "Welcome back, Eva. I was just eating. Shall I make something quick for you?" I tried speaking up, but Eva sighed heavily and went straight to her room without saying anything. Did I unknowingly hurt Eva in some way? Filled with anxiety, I consulted Johnny again.
Maybe Eva is just tired from her new job.
But he didn't take me seriously. Despite Eva's cold attitude, I never changed mine. I believed that whatever happened, we could eventually return to how we were before, and even if we weren't blood related, Eva is my daughter. Despite being given the cold shoulder and ignored, I never gave up on speaking to Eva every day. Time passed again. How long has it been since I last had a conversation with Eva? Yet I continue to greet Eva as usual. "Good morning. Work hard today, too. Take care." I watch her back as she leaves without touching the breakfast I made, silent. How long will these days continue? I might be at my limit. Thinking this, I head to work as well. Over these years, consulting with colleagues yielded no satisfying answers. Some said it was just a late rebellious phase, that such times happen. Eventually, I stopped consulting anyone and continued to worry alone. Returning home became dreadfully unpleasant. On such days, I end up going home on time. Unable to shake off the heavy feeling, I buy ingredients for dinner on the way home. "I'm home."
"Ah, welcome back."
Johnny had already returned home. He seems to be watching the evening news, already drinking a can of beer. Maybe I'll drink some alcohol today, too. Saying this, I open the fridge and take out a can of beer.
"What's up? It's rare for you."
Explaining my feelings to Johnny would likely just be brushed off again. Every now and then, days like this happen.
"Really?"
The conversation ends. If this continues, not just with Eva, but also Johnny, I might end up not talking. I fill with anxiety again. Had I not chosen to become a family with Johnny and Eva, would I not feel this way? Thinking this far, I snap back to reality. No, stop thinking any further. I tell myself, taking a deep breath, to blow away the anxiety. At that moment, "I'm home!" Eva seems to have returned. As she passes the kitchen heading to the living room, I call out to her. "Welcome back, Eva. You're early today. I'll start preparing dinner, so just wait a bit." Expecting to be ignored as usual. Don't give in. Don't flinch. Act as usual. I chant to myself like a spell. Eva sighs heavily. "Yeah." Though faint, she definitely responded. "Ah, yes, just wait." I couldn't hide my surprise. Whether she noticed or not, Eva is watching TV with Johnny. I was so happy, I almost burst into song. Regretting not preparing Eva's favorite dishes for dinner, as I continued. That night, Eva ate my cooking for the first time in years. Just that made me feel as if all the hardships were a lie, lifting my spirits. But the good news didn't end there. At dinner, Eva revealed she had someone she wanted us to meet. Today was the best day. For the first time in a while, I slept well until morning. The man Eva introduced, Leon, was wealthy enough to intimidate both me and Johnny. Leon, 4 years older than Eva, comes from a family working in one of Japan's leading corporations. Though his father wanted him to work in the same company, Not wanting to rely on his parents' influence, he job hunted on his own and ended up working at the same company as Eva. Apparently, they are colleagues in the same department, and he was drawn to Eva's calm demeanor.
Can't leave her alone. Can't take my eyes off her.
Perhaps he never encountered someone like Eva in his elite upbringing. I shouldn't be the one to say this, but Eva lacks competitiveness. Should I say she's laid back? Even from my perspective, she's a relaxed daughter. Having lived in a cutthroat world where work was everything, competing to be better than everyone else, I could understand why Leon was drawn to Eva. Seeing him smile shyly next to Eva, I felt reassured. Despite the apprehension due to his family's wealth, he was a very ordinary young man in person. An unbiased, straightforward young man. I looked forward to meeting his parents. On the day of the family meeting, Leon's parents came from Boston to our state. Leon had arranged for us to meet at the state's most prestigious hotel restaurant. I used it occasionally for work dinners, but both Johnny and Eva looked nervous. Well, it's about the marriage of our daughter, who we've raised so dearly. Their tension wasn't just because it was an unfamiliar place. And there I was, somehow calm. Why, I wonder? I think of Eva as my real daughter. Seeing them tense up made me unconsciously think I shouldn't get dragged down too. While analyzing the situation, Leon and his parents arrived.
This time, with such fine weather.
Johnny begins his greeting with a voice that can't hide his nervousness. Thank you for coming all this way to such a rural area. As Johnny stumbles over his words, I speak up in his place.
Not at all. Please don't feel nervous. Today we're here as parents of our children, hoping to enjoy a meal together.
Leon's father, Floyd, had a genuinely friendly demeanor with no hint of pretense, and his mother, Sharon, smiled beside him. We were truly looking forward to meeting Eva and both of you today. Sharon, who should be around our age, still had the grace of a young girl. Is this the behavior of the upper class? I was so moved I nearly forgot I was a parent, but I managed to respond. Truly our daughter isn't much to speak of, but Leon seems to have taken a liking to her gentle nature. To which I said, Same here, this one always rebels against me, but to bring home such a gentle woman, I was reconsidering my view of him. Greetings aside, as we took our seats at the table, a luxurious meal was served. Eva and Johnny, seeing the splendid dishes, seemed to relax a bit. By the time the champagne for the toast was empty, we were all engaging in smooth conversation. Though I had braced myself for dealing with upper-class people, the more we talked, the more at ease I felt. It turned out Floyd wasn't always wealthy. Our conversation flowed from tales of our youth to hobbies and recent interests, exciting us to the point where the younger two seemed lost at times. Before we knew it, the course meal ended, and dessert and coffee were served. The family meeting concluded in a consistently warm atmosphere. I exchanged contact information with Sharon, and we became so close as to go out for lunch together occasionally. Months later, Eva and Leon had a lavish wedding and started living in a condominium near our home. A year later, we were overjoyed to learn of Eva's pregnancy. Eva quit her job easily and started visiting our home often. She spent more time at our place than at her new home with Leon. Given her frequent visits, I suggest she spend more time at home with Leon, but Leon is at work anyway, and I haven't been feeling well, she would say, showing her dependence on me. When it's your cooking, I can eat. With those words, how could I turn her away? I found myself not only preparing meals, but also cleaning their new home and driving her to shopping trips, fully taking care of Eva. As a mother, I believed it was my duty to be there for my daughter during her tough times. However, her constant phone use and occasional whimsical outings did concern me. One day, Leon came home with her to our house, and seeing Eva lounging on the sofa, always on her phone, he said,
Eva, why don't you move around a bit? Ashley must be tired from work as well.
But it's fine. Ashley does it because she wants to for me. She was chastised.
Sorry, Ashley, for even making prepared meals for us.
Seeing Eva's unchanged behavior, he apologized to me. Leon really is a good young man. Well, it can't be helped. After all, I played the part in raising Eva, and it's not something you should apologize for, Leon. Besides, things will surely change once the baby is born. I wasn't sure if I was reassuring Leon or convincing myself. Months later, Eva gave birth. I was with Eva from the onset of her birth, contacting Leon, his parents, and Johnny. Leon was with her in the delivery room, witnessing the birth. During that time, I was restless. Never having experienced childbirth myself, I couldn't even imagine the pain she was going through. Praying, Sharon comforted me. Eva's delivery seemed smooth, and soon both mother and child were healthy and smiling. I was moved to tears. I couldn't wait to hold the baby. But I had to wait until the next day to hold the baby, leaving Leon behind as we went home, planning to visit the hospital again the next day. Visiting Eva's room the next day, I saw the newborn baby sleeping in the crib. Seeing a newborn up close for the first time, I couldn't hold back my tears again. I can't wait to hold you in my arms. Just when my true feelings slipped out, baby started crying in a feeble voice. We were asked to step outside the room because it was time for breastfeeding. Soon, Leon will finish work and come here, so I'll go buy a cake while I'm at it, said Sharon as she left the hospital. Hearing Eva calling us from the room, Johnny and I entered again. This time, I could finally hold the baby. I asked Eva, "Can I hold the baby too?" Then Eva and Johnny looked at each other, burst out laughing.
What are you saying something so funny for?
You don't have to ask to give a hug. Thinking that it was okay to approach Eva and the baby without asking. Hey, don't come any closer. Eva said, laughing. I thought I had misheard, but that wasn't the case. After all, why should a stranger like you touch mine and Leon's child? Stranger? I looked at Johnny with a desperate hope.
So this time has finally come.
Johnny also laughed as he looked at me.
Eva found a better golden goose than you, and she has given birth to a child who inherits that golden goose's blood.
Was this person really the one I had spent so much time with? Johnny's face seemed so hideous to me.
We don't need you anymore,
he said, as if spitting out the words. Eva added insult to injury, while I was frozen and unable to speak. Really, ever since I was little, Dad said it, but flattering you was always a pain.
And you seemed to enjoy getting whatever you wanted just because of that, didn't you?
They both laughed. Were all those days a lie? Was I the only one enjoying our time together? My voice was trembling. It felt like the world was going dark.
No, it was fun. You made a lot of money for us, fed us, right?
Yeah, right. We could live luxuriously, and you did everything we said. There was no love or gratitude for me there. Just the cold, callous way one might speak to a convenient tool. Well, you were always meddling under the guise of being a mother. Really, what were you thinking?
We were the ones misleading you, pretending to be a family for so long. Maybe we have a talent for acting.
They laughed again, uproariously. I felt a rapid draining of emotion within me. I had been deceived for over 20 years. I couldn't help but burst into laughter at my own stupidity. Oh. Johnny and Eva looked at me as if I were something alien.
Have you finally gone mad?
Johnny looked at me with a contemptuous face, wondering what was happening to me. Why did I ever love such a man? That's disgusting. Johnny was taken aback by the disdain directed at him for the first time. I thought it might be something like that. Johnny and Eva looked confused. Did you know this conversation is being listened to by someone else? I headed towards the door behind me. Johnny and Eva were still clueless. When I opened the door, Leon and Sharon were standing there, causing Johnny and Eva to freeze. Their faces turned pale, contrasting with Leon and Sharon's, which were red with anger. Their expressions were stern. Then, slowly, Leon approached Eva, holding a large envelope in his hand. "What's this about?" Eva retorted, intimidated by Leon's presence.
"I'll ask you directly, Eva. Is that child really mine?"
Leon looked at the baby sleeping in the crib. Eva's face showed a moment of fear. "What are you talking about? Of course it is." Her blinking increased. Without a word, Leon handed over the envelope. "What's this?" Eva cautiously checked the contents of the envelope and was speechless.
"What's going on?"
Johnny went next to Eva, took the documents from her hand, and then lost his words just like Eva.
"I'm going to have a DNA test done on the child,"
Leon said as he picked up the documents that fell from Johnny's hand. "It's some mistake." Eva desperately appealed to Leon, but it seemed not to reach him. "Floyd has a friend who's a brilliant lawyer. This evidence is acknowledged by the lawyer as well, isn't it?" Despite her delicate appearance, Sharon's voice was merciless.
"Why has it come to this, Eva?"
It seemed Johnny was unaware that Eva had been unfaithful. The documents Leon brought were evidence of Eva's infidelity and related to the divorce discussions. "There must be some mistake," Eva muttered in a much softer voice than before.
"If it's a mistake, let's get it verified."
The look in his eyes as he gazed at Eva might still hold a desire to believe in her. A slightly kinder gaze mixed in.
"Ashley, thank you."
Leaving Johnny behind, we left the room. Leon expressed his gratitude politely. It's okay. Whenever Eva acted strangely, there was always something going on. It was me who first suspected Eva's infidelity. During her pregnancy, Eva would come over to our place numerous times and fiddle with her mobile phone. I happened to catch a glimpse of her screen once. It looked like a messaging app with text like, "Want to meet? How about now?" And then Eva would leave the house. Leon was supposed to be at work, and there were some concerning details for just a friend. Around that time, when Leon came to pick up Eva, he consulted with me. He mentioned how Eva seemed indifferent. I explained it might be the emotional instability common during pregnancy, but my suspicion wasn't based on solid evidence. I couldn't confront Eva with such doubts. Leon, on his part, started an investigation on his own. The investigation revealed the possibility of Eva's infidelity and her being pregnant with another man's child. But by then, Eva was already in her final month of pregnancy. When I heard about it from Leon, I mentioned something that made sense, and to get confirmation, I suggested a DNA test after the baby was born. I really can't make up for what I've done. The fact remains that I raised that child. How can I even begin to apologize? I apologized to Leon and Sharon. It was a family issue we've lived with for over 20 years, not something I alone could be forgiven for. Yet calmly, "What are you saying, Ashley? It's those two. It's the mother and child who are to blame. You're a victim too. Maybe we should consult the lawyer we used this time," Sharon said. She smiled innocently, charmingly. This was the one person I shouldn't make an enemy of. I felt fortunate to have such a strong friend. A few days later, the DNA test results came out. The child's father was indeed not Leon. Leon filed for divorce, but Eva refused, leading to mediation. Eva started to act seductively towards me again, but I paid her no attention. In fact, living in the same house with the three of us had become a nuisance, so I had already started preparing to move. But both Leon and I were appalled by Eva's stubbornness in refusing the divorce during mediation. But as the divorce lawsuit proceeded, Eva's defeat became evident. Adultery after marriage, sexual relations, pregnancy with another man's child. Such actions were inhumane, and there was even a DNA test report of the child. Eva and her affair partner were sued for damages. Eva's lover was still a university student, had not taken responsibility for the child, and had already fled. Therefore, Eva had to pay the compensation for her lover as well. Moreover, Eva couldn't rely on Johnny. Unknown to me, Johnny had quit his job while we were living on my income and had even accumulated gambling debts. I learned about this from Sharon while Eva's divorce negotiations were dragging on. Of course, I filed for divorce from Johnny. Since we were going through the lawyer introduced by Floyd, the divorce should be finalized soon. Yet Eva and Johnny seemed to cling to me, but those around me were aware of their actions and supportive of me. So far, there have been no assaults from the two. As for the baby, Johnny's parents decided to take it in. Living in the countryside, they declared to cut ties with both Johnny and Eva upon learning of the scandal. If Johnny and Eva were to rely on them, the neighbors wouldn't allow it. Connections in the countryside are stronger than those of relatives. Johnny's parents believe the baby is innocent and decided to take action, but it was hard for me to leave it to the elderly couple. I had also raised Eva until she became an adult. Having received much help during my marriage to Johnny, I felt responsible and decided to support the child's future education costs. When I discussed this with Sharon, "Well, if Ashley thinks so," she prepared a significant amount of money. "No way, I can't accept this," but she insisted. "Think of it as severance pay from Leon and the child." She smiled innocently again. It turns out Sharon's family is wealthy, something I hadn't heard during the family meetings, but she was the daughter of the president of the company Floyd works for. Did I not mention it? Besides, I don't have much else to enjoy. The look in her eyes as she said this sent shivers down my spine. Truly a frightening person. I was grateful to have won her favor and become friends. Years have passed. Johnny and Eva are still chased my debts. As for me, I have a lunch date with Sharon today. "Ashley!" She calls me with the same youthful voice as ever. Next to her stand Leon and a young woman. It seems Leon is also finding new happiness. I waved and hurried over to the three of them.